everyone, and welcome to another episode of Marketing Corner, brought to you by the wonderful Jennifer and me, Casper.
Jennifer.
This is Jen. I'll call it Jen.
Jennifer's weird.
After 51
like
episodes, you're Jen.
Yeah, we can go on nickname basis. Nickname basis is fine.
Today we're on episode 51, and we are going to be talking a bit about free trials. As a concept and as a thing to do, and it's kind of inspired by the fact that you guys recently launched your free trial program. We have a bunch of clients at SparkForce that have free trials with their software, SaaS typically, and you have a lot of experience with having free trials as part of your offering, a part of your go-to-market essentially. So with that said, I think let's take it over to you first, and then maybe you can talk a little bit about what you launched at the Onomondo here in this case, and then we'll take it up for a little bit of a broader discussion about the pros and cons of having a free trial program.
Yep, absolutely. So thanks for that. Wonderful volley layup, so I can
that was a slam dunk.
That was nice.
Like LeBron would be proud.
A little tear in his eye, like that's my boy. Good job, Casper. Yeah, it's almost like we rehearsed this. We're getting better.
Yeah, no, it's on the backbone. Right?
I assure you, people, we have not rehearsed.
we do not rehearse. We don't. If we seem like people who rehearse, we don't.
Then high five, because we are fooling everyone. No, cool. So yes, as I mentioned, I think I spoke back in episode 41, 10 episodes ago, about putting pricing on a pricing page. And this was our kind of stepping into reassessing our pricing and how we acquire customers and what's holding us back. And so something that's been on the wish list for a long time for us and every company I've ever worked at from a marketing perspective is a free trial. We want a glorified lead pool for sales to play with, people using our product, lowering the barrier to entry. All of that stuff is, well, we'll talk about the challenges, but it's something that a lot of marketers want. And we had the opportunity to try it out. So we actually launched a free trial last week. And the process of coming to the decision how to do, I think, is actually very impressive. And I'm really proud of how we've managed to do it. But we still have our challenges. But what we did was we created a proposal from the marketing side, from the growth side. We would like to have a free trial. Here's the benefits. Here's what we can put into it. Here's what we can expect out of it. We did a competitor analysis of our top competitors. What kind of trials are they offering? How much are they charging? What is included? What kind of features? What kind of support? What kind of investment do people have to do? So free-ish trial. And then we sat down again with a cross-collaborative task force, kind of like what we talked about in the last episode. We had a representative from sales, tech, product, CS, RevOps, and our CTO was a part of that conversation of like, okay, how do we make this happen now? What is an MVP? And how can we make sure it meets the needs of everyone as much as possible? Because of course we would love a demo environment built with dummy data, and tech's like, no, that's not going to happen anytime soon, rightly so. And so how can we kind of meet in the middle? And we met 6 times, and after 6 meetings, we launched.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive, actually.
I think that's the power of.
Was there a lot of like back end stuff in this, like beyond? Let's say you create the landing page and you create the copy around it and visuals and stuff. Was there any like back end part of your product that needed to work in a different way?
Yes. Yeah, okay. And that's why it was super important to have product and tech in the conversation, because our wish list is not matching what they have the bandwidth for. And what they're working on, right?
It never does, though, right?
It never does, and that's
like that's not didn't surprise anyone. Like, to the surprise of no one, like the product team can't deliver exactly what you want.
They're not just sitting around waiting for us to ask them to do stuff.
What?
Yeah. But that was why it was super important. Free trial, again, in the past, it's always been like, how can growth do this? How can sales do this? But actually, we needed product on board. And what was happening before was like, we want a demo environment, and product are like, we'll put it on the wish list. It's not even on the roadmap. And then we wait and nothing happens. And then, things stagnate. So by getting everyone in the room, we're like, okay, what is the minimum? This is what we want. Where can we meet in the middle that works for you? And so they were able to make some changes to the product that, for example, we have a data limit on our free trial. That is something that in the product, they had to go and make sure there was a data limit set. So they had to build the ability to cap data. right? Because the usual way our product works is you pay for your data, so you just keep using it, and then we invoice you. So they had to physically build something that says, okay, no more, stop. They had to physically build a part that said, do you want to upgrade? So there were things that they had to build. They had to allow certain features, and then they had to allow certain networks to be accessed as part of this trial. So it did require some back end work, but I think the benefit of having everyone in the room is we can constantly were able to compromise. This is what we want. What can you guys do now? This is what we'd like to have. They say, this is what we can do. Okay, can we do this? And so it was
a lot of iteration, essentially.
A lot of iteration, but like verbal iteration. So they weren't, once we were clear and everyone in the room was clear on what we needed, then it was much easier for product to go and build it. And they built it once, maybe twice, and there's little tweaks here and there, but the heavy lifting was able to be done within about 10 days or so, 10 working days, because we were very clear.
And that's cool, because like you're a young company, you're super flexible still, and just goes to show that it doesn't have to be a long process necessarily to implement something, which is a pretty big change. Like, let's be real, for a lot of companies, this is a big one. I want to take a step back, Jen, and just like, I'm a little curious on this. How was your decision-making process to get to this point? Like, how did this start? Like, how did some of you go like, we should have a free trial, or like how did you start that?
It's a combination of what is everyone else doing, what is the market telling us, and we want to get towards a product-led growth.
Okay,
how do we do that? So it was kind of a combination of all three, and it was something that I know sales was talking to us, and it was very like, wouldn't it be cool if? There was a lot of wouldn't it be cool ifs, and so myself and our product marketing manager, shout out Connor, came up with a proposal of what we could do based on getting people in the product, based on our own limitations, based on what the market is doing, telling us, and based on what competitors are doing. And we came up with a proposal. But I will say, after we had that initial meeting with all the department leads, that proposal changed drastically, but we still kind of all got what we wanted. So it was that kind of growth, getting the ball rolling, and then getting everyone in the same room.
But that feels a lot like the normal process, right? Like it's never ends up where you originally started, typically, right?
Yeah. So,
I think I want to tap into something here that you brought up, and I think that's really interesting, because that's also what I'm seeing, is that this is part of like the product-led growth movement.
Yeah.
Like, and let's be real, like free trials are not a new thing, like not a new concept. Like it's been around for quite a while. Free trials, freemium models, like God, I've written papers on freemium models back in university, right? So it's not a new thing per se. But what I think is new is our understanding of how it feeds into your go-to-market strategy. At least that's my perspective. Because I saw this really cool, let's call it, I don't want to call it framework, but like model recently by a woman called Emily Kramer, who runs some pretty cool stuff. And she listed like 9 marketing advantages you can take, you can use to leverage like your to make your marketing strategy, your go-to-market strategy stronger. And like if you have one of these, like you might be successful. Like you need at least one of them to and one of them she mentioned is having like a free trial motion. And because that works really well when you have product-led growth, like when you're trying to move that direction. And I think it's what I want to say with that is like it's not for everyone. I think that's the point of it. Like, and that's why you bring it up. Like, I'm actually, to be honest, like I know your product pretty well, but I like, of course, I don't know it that well. So I'm actually a little surprised it was
tracking cows, right?
Yeah, tracking cows, right? Like that's how much I know. God, please don't judge. But tracking cows, right? No, but for real, like I was actually a little bit surprised you could do a free trial, right? Like it was actually possible for you guys to do it, because like there's a lot of other companies where it's like okay, and I remember we had at Templify. We had like in the beginning we talked about free trial, but we never really got to a point where it was actually really a good free trial, because like and I don't know, like in your case, walk me through. I'll get to the question after, but in our case, back when at Templify, it was like when people tried our product, like the free trial, we really tried to build one. But the problem for us was always that they didn't get the full experience, because Templify was a product that was like, it's really good when it's rolled out to the whole company, but you can't really do a rollout to a whole company. Like, hey guys, we're just going to roll this out to 50,000 people for 14 days, see how it works. And then we're going to like take it away from you guys if it's not a thing. It's like, you don't do that. Like company-wide rollouts, you either do it or you don't.
Right. Yeah.
So you couldn't really do a free trial, and that was kind of like so I was really surprised to see that you guys could do it, but I think it's really good you did.
Yeah, now you bring up a really great point, and I think in other companies I worked at, Planday, Dixa, same kind of thing. It's like, oh, hey, change your completely critical infrastructure over to us for 14 days, and then if it doesn't work, you can switch back.
Exactly, right?
That's a tough ask.
Yeah.
So we are kind of a little bit different in that we offer a connectivity solution, and most of the market know this much of what we do, which is the same as everyone else, and then we have all this other stuff that is much, much cooler. But what we figured is if we meet people where they're at, they want to be able to send data from one device to another. That's kind of what they want to do, right? So if we're like, look, try us out, we can do that too. It's just you've never heard of us. And by the way, here is a whole platform where you can do all kinds of cool stuff as well. So for us, it's like, let's meet that minimum requirement that people have, show them that we are legit and you can connect to things just as well as anyone else, and give them a taste and kind of dip their toe into our platform and see all the things that they could potentially do and how much time it will save them. Because we struggle, and this is within my team and the company as a whole, we struggle conveying what we do. Yeah. We're super technical. We need different things to different people. And so it's really hard.
And free trial is a good thing there if you do it right? Like
exactly.
But I also found like I've helped a lot of companies with free trials, and I felt like sometimes one of the ways it can backfire is if you do a free trial where you try the product and first of all, it doesn't live up to the expectations, or it's just not, or you haven't built it to be a free trial product. So if it doesn't live up to expectation, there's like, if your marketing team's killing it and you're like, they're going, yeah, really great product, and they try it, like, oh God, oh Lord. I think that's that's a general problem if you have a really good marketing team or marketing in general, and you just like have a really shitty product, like it's never gonna work. It's not gonna be great, right? But I also think like sometimes a free trial, you need a lot of guidance, right? Like some having like, hey, when you go in here, you should click this to get the most out of this. You should do X, Y, Z, right? I think like the most common cases for free trial where it makes like the ones that are famous and everyone knows, like Slack. Slack is a great product for a free trial, right? I think Notion, I think you use Notion a lot, right? Notion is a great product for a free trial. Figma is a great product for a free trial. So a lot of these products where it's singular person who can quickly expand, like, and to use it with multiple people without having to involve more people. I think that's one of the things that works for it. Yeah. One of the things I've found also with some of the clients we work with is that it's really good in the industries or like in categories where there's a lot of trust building needed too, like that needs to be done. Without saying their name, like we work with a client who does virtual assistants, so help with like having a PA, a personal assistant online, like digitally. And that's like a huge trust thing, right? Like you're say, hey, here's my passport, go book a flight ticket for me. Right? Like, Jesus, like, and you're halfway across the world, right? So there's a lot of trust that needs to be built there. And there, I think the free trial serves a great purpose in building that trust. But at the same time, they've also experienced a lot of abuse, right? And that led me to the other side. It's like you can also like the things you get in on free trials. While you think there's a lot of intent, there's not always that much intent, actually. And that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you. Of course, it's something you've considered. It's like, are you going to look differently between the ones that have a free trial and the ones that just straightly say, hey, Jen, I want to talk to sales. Let's go. Yeah. Of course you just launched, you don't know yet, but is that something you're like thinking about, like moving forward, if there's going to be a difference, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like this is the MVP or MVT, minimum viable test.
Love it.
You're absolutely right, because we do have a very technical product. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get in there and go, what the hell? And what's really helpful is that our CS team has been practicing a self-onboarding. So they've kind of set up this sequence of emails, because the other side of it, and one of the challenges, if we're about to start talking about challenges, is sure, we can get a ton of people in, but these people need onboarding and they need support. And CS in most companies probably doesn't have a ton of people, and they have enough to do already without dealing with a pool of leads that could turn out to be nothing. And so we agreed as a group that the big red stop button that gets slammed is CS. CS are the ones who are able to slam that button, say stop everything, and then we turn off the free
Yeah.
trial, we take it off the website, we stop everything. So they're the
Yeah.
ones who get to make that call.
Yeah.
And they've been testing out some self onboarding already in the months leading up to this. So they have some pretty good data of what's working. And for them,
Okay.
again, when we frame this as a test, as an experiment, for them, this is a chance to see where is our self onboarding failing? Where do we need to do more? And then we in growth can go, we'll help you make a video, we'll help you do webinars, or
Yeah.
whatever that is to fix that problem. So that is definitely one of the challenges that we have of kind of making sure people get value and see value and managing their expectations. So we're setting the bar low. We're calling it a test. Even the free trial is start testing. You know, this isn't to use forever. This is limited data, limited SIM cards. We charge a price, so it's a free trial, but we're charging for shipping. And the truth of the matter is we wanted to do fully free, but then you have to have a very robust disqualification, right?
Yeah.
And we send out a physical product. So
exactly.
We're physically
in your case,
something.
it's really like, but then again, like, I don't know, but like in your case, who, like, yeah, it does happen, but who would go for a free trial if you have no idea what you're doing? You need to have some sort of intent behind what you're doing if you sign up for a free trial with you guys.
True, but because you get a SIM card, people think I can put this in my phone, or I can use that data to watch Netflix. You know, so there could be that abuse of it, and it still costs us money. You know, we do pay someone for that data, so it costs us money to ship it out. It costs us money to order the SIM cards, and it costs us money in terms of the data that we're offering for free. But we needed, so we wanted people to have some skin in the game. We wanted people, like, we have people who are like, oh, I have to pay, drop off, you know, and then it's like, okay, then maybe if you're going to do an IoT project, you've got money, you know, this is a big project. So $15 is probably not going to break the bank if you're serious. So that's
exactly, kind of and that's why, like, frankly, that's why I'm really excited, like, and like interested to see how it goes. So let's make a mental note that we follow up on how your free trial project goes in a few months, because I really want to see what happens here. Because for Templify, as I said, it wasn't a good thing, and for United FinTech, we had so many different products that it was like not really feasible to have a free trial in this sort of way. Also, there's a lot of integration, right? Like sometimes you have to integrate it with your tool stack in a very big way to get the most out of it. But I also know, like, Stefan from Dream Data, they have a lot of success with running their free trial programs and stuff. So it is very product dependent and like very category dependent, like if it fits or not. I think one of the things I want to add to this, and I think that goes to you guys too, not so much anymore, maybe, like you have the size now where it's not relevant, but not relevant is wrong, but is feedback. So one of the things by having let's say you're a small business and you get maybe, I don't know, 5 customers a year or 10 or whatever, right? Now you suddenly get 50 free trials per month. That's a whole lot of more feedback on like your product.
Yeah.
Right. And that can be extremely valuable, especially in the beginning. So also it would be for you guys, but you guys have so much traction now that's might not be that needed. But in the beginning of the process, that feedback is extremely valuable, at least in my opinion. So that's also one of the reasons you want to have a free trial program, at least from my perspective. And also the people who go through a free trial and end up becoming customers, I've found in a lot of data, are really good clients. Like, so you get the best clients there, but you also get the worst. I think that's a little bit interesting for me. That's something I found. Actually, I discovered it a while ago, so it's not something new for me. But the best clients are the ones who are really like, hey, really cool. I already love this. Like, I'm really interested in the product. I free trial. In the free trial, they already get started and really start using the product, and then they naturally go into it. A good example could be myself. I love Canva, right? A Canva big fan. Had a free trial. I knew Canva, so I was like, I had a free trial and immediately started using it and upgraded right away, right?
Yeah.
So I would be a prime example of that. But there's also the worst customers are the ones that go into a free trial and then, okay, we'll get it. I haven't really used my free trial. I haven't used my free trial, and then it becomes like some sort of I don't want to call it scapegoat, but like a stopping block, right?
Mm.
Where like sometimes if you talk to a sales department or if you really sign up, you got to be like, okay, we're really doing
Yeah.
this. Like we're really doing this. Where sometimes it's just you can just try it. It's a free trial, and like you really don't dedicate time to
Yeah.
it because it's free. It's free, right?
Absolutely. It's free.
And then when the free trial stops, like you have to make a decision. And you haven't really actually gotten further. You're just like a
Hmm.
little bit more urgent, and then you might sign up, but it's on the wrong. You still don't know it enough, right? Like
Yeah.
so, and those customers are not great. Like
Of
as
course.
far as I've
And
seen,
that's
like
Yeah, and I think that leads us into like kind of some of the challenges that were highlighted specifically from sales of like where's the urgency, right? Where's the
yeah,
urgency if and so that's why we put a deadline on it. It's a 30-day trial. It's not forever, it's after 30 days. And what we can see in our system, we basically said the clock will start ticking 1 week after your sims have been shipped. So we
mm,
know that you've received them. We can very manually go in and then one of the things that works with our product is we can see when you're using it, like right, well, most products, most software products and ours, we can see if you start sending data, we know that you're doing something. But the problem we had is, and this was my suggestion, was like, okay, let's start the trial when they start sending data. And exactly your point is what our sales VP brought up of like, then they'll never do it, it'll sit on their desk forever. So it's like, okay, 7 days, your trial has now started, and that they haven't sent any data, we can put in little prompts that say, hey, we noticed that you haven't logged in yet, and try to get them going. And then if they end up never doing it, the account is deleted anyway. And at least we still lose a little bit on the shipping, depending on where they
yeah,
live in the world, but we haven't lost all that much. So yeah, and
yeah,
by charging a small fee, it's much lower than the competition. There's no,
mm,
in our area, there's not really like a free trial. There's
no,
always
no,
something you have to contribute. We're
yeah,
actually cheaper on that front. So that's kind of what we put in place to try to stop that.
no, no, but definitely, definitely, and
Mm.
yeah, I think one of the clients we've been working on is just they're also going back and forth on their free trial. So they've had it on for a while, and now they had it off and a little
Mm.
bit, and been testing a little bit because there's been a lot of different things happening with that particular case, right? And that's a good thing about these things is that like it's if like in general in marketing in general and like where we are today,
Hmm.
2023, is that like we can try things, and if it doesn't work,
Yeah.
then you just cut it off, right? Like it's not like especially if you're a small company. If you're a larger company, it might be a little bit bigger of a thing, but essentially like you can test and you can reiterate like you guys are doing, right?
Hmm.
So now you're like, okay, we launched our MBT, and now we're gonna go to market with that, and let's see what happens. And
Hmm.
but it's how do you, and I wanted to ask this, so how do you evaluate if it's a success or not? Like when do you
Hmm.
think like, hey, this is great, let's keep this, or when do
Yeah.
you like let's cut it?
I think we've had 8 free trial signups in a week.
Okay.
So we're not like drowning, which is good. We were kind of worried, like, are we going to get tons? And what a wonderful problem to have, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Luxury
Wonderful
problems,
problem.
right?
There's so
Yeah.
many people coming in. And so I think for us, we have to let the trial happen. We have to let it run its course, and then we have to see those conversion rates. So those in a month from now, we'll know whether how many of those 8 became a customer, and that's the thing that will measure the success. So originally we had said if we get 10 signups at all, we'll consider it a success. Now we're kind of close to the 10, so it's like, okay, if we have a conversion rate right now, we have a conversion rate of about 20% of people who get, say, a cold. Excuse me. So we have a inbound conversion rate of 20% of people who come in inbound tend to become a customer.
Mm.
Can we beat that? Can we increase that? Can we improve upon that? Because all of these would consider technically inbound.
Yeah.
Um, so those are the kind of metrics that we'll be looking at. But one of the challenges that we have, and this comes up, I think, for a lot of people, is a concern from sales of cannibalizing on MRR.
Mm.
Because we've had a situation um, quite recently where our customers like, why should I pay when you're offering a free trial? Because there's kind of this outbound engine also happening, particularly looking at larger companies and enterprise, right?
How long is your free trial though?
30 days.
Okay.
So
But
there's this kind of concern that, yeah, people are like, why should I pay for a full onboarding support kind of testing zone? We have what we call a sandbox where people can go
mm.
in, test all the bells and whistles, full support that they have to pay for monthly. And this idea of like, why should I pay monthly if you're offering it for free? And this kind of trying to explain to people like, no, this is 5 SIM cards versus 100. This is limited data versus unlimited. This is no support versus. So
Yeah.
we still have to finesse the messaging around that because there seems to be some confusion in the market still. But the other side of it is this could potentially delay MRR, right? So now instead of saying, that sounds great, sign me up, here's money, they're going to go, give me a month to try you out. And so there's that kind of balance between, yes, we could essentially be slowing the sales cycle down, but we could also be increasing the amount of qualified leads who are testing the product. And that could, if they've tested the product and they're in there and they're playing around and they're seeing the benefits early, then that conversion should be kind of a no-brainer. Hopefully, right?
Hopefully,
so
right?
It's two sides of the coin of we're probably making the sales cycle longer, but the payoff hopefully will be more qualified leads ready to close faster.
I went to an interesting event yesterday where like one of the speakers that spoke was about decision making, and one of the smart things she said was that sometimes when you make decisions, technically, if the decision is right, like looking back, then the outcome doesn't matter. And I think that's an interesting point to your case here, right? Because like if you guys have decided, hey, this is what we believe it's going to bring in potentially more MRR in the long term, then if the outcome in the short term is that you bring in less, it's like, okay, but it was still the right decision. And even if you end up in a situation where, okay, we actually did get less MRR in the long term as well, that was 1 out of 10 outcomes. The other 9 would have been positive or are positive. But the one, and you ended up with the 1 out of 10 that was negative. That's unfortunate, but that doesn't make the decision to do the free trial a bad decision.
And I think I love that. And that's a really good point. And the other that falls into that is the pressure to change things because we've had one bad experience.
Yeah.
And this is where we marketing people are always told, oh, change this. And I don't like the way that's worded. And that's where things kind of get out of control. And like, where do you pull the plug, or where do you say this one thing happened and it sucks, but we're going to keep going ahead, or this one thing happened, so let's change things to make sure that edge case doesn't happen again. And I think that's the balance that we as a team have to come up with is the task force. What is the return on these changes versus the cost and the impact of making changes all the time?
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, we're running out of time here.
So we'll check up in a month or so.
Another one for the books, right? Because I really mental note taken, and please remind us out there, but we will remember. But this is really interesting, and I'd love to see how the test goes, and then we can kind of reiterate a bit and see what happened along the way.
Yep.
But awesome. Please, if you have free trial examples, feel free to share them, and otherwise, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. As always. See you next time.
Yeah. Take care. Bye.